Gary Holland, along with pro wrestling personality and expert Steve Rickard. In this World Pro Wrestling program from the Pacific, tonight Farmer Boy Ipo of Samoa meets Roy Starr. Steve Rickard takes us back a year or two and shows us how Lofty Blomfield applied his match winners. More action from our video library on the great Samoan Siva Api. But the action begins with Gore, the Mongolian, up against the Mountain Man Link.
Mongolian Gore and Mountain Link locking up into a arm lock there by Gore, but Link just throws him off. Gore bounces off the stomach of Mountain Link. 400 pounds. Forearm, and he just stands there. Mountain Link rolls across the ring, takes Gore by the but Gore trying to slam, trying to pick Mountain up, and no! Whoa! And what a slam as Mountain turns the tail, Gore runs and then bounces off Mountain. Mountain calling for him. Come on, he says. Gore not knowing what to do. Rolling Gore now on the side headlock. Mountain applying the side headlock. Gore with Mountain on the rope, throws a knee and then a forearm. Mountain just stands there. Gore throws another one. Doesn't take any notice of any of these blows at all. Now he throws a fist in the jaw of Gore the Mongolian, and Mongolian hits the canvas.
Well, Gore normally no lightweight. In this case, that's what he's been used to.
No, he's certainly no lightweight, but up against the 400-pound Bandit Mountain, he certainly looks like a lightweight. Gore trying to rake the eyes of the Bandit Mountain. Referee warning him. His stranglehold applied. The referee again applies the count. Big and bad. And Link on the rope. Stranglehold again. Referee calling for a break. Warning Gore. Gore from the Mongolian. 1.5 the World Tag Team Champions. And Mountain taking over. Gore throws a fist in his stomach. Makes no difference. And another one. Gore thrown into the right. And Mountain waits, brings the turn into him. And again, Gore the Mongolian bounces off. Crowd falling. And certainly a popular wrestler. Breaking the eyes.
Well, I think Gore might be getting a little frustrated.
He certainly is, Barry. He doesn't seem to know how to handle this big hulk of a man. Again, Mountain throws that Gore the Mongolian into him, brings a big elbow in the chest, knocks him down. Getting ready, looks as he's down for the big splash. Oh, he brings the big right across the chest of the Gore the Mongolian. Anderson's in the ring. Zara the Mongolian's in the ring. They both take over on Mountain. Then is still standing there as Zara pounds away and Anderson pounding away at the arm. Gore jumps up on the top of the Mountain. The gong is gone. The match is over. The referee will have disqualified Gore for the interference of Zara and Anderson. But both Zara and Anderson hold on. And, oh, what a brilliant Mountain just linked them together. And he knocked Anderson off him. Now he's fighting the three of them. Round the corner. Mountain punching away. Two Mongolians. The heads thrown together. The heads thrown together. The best way to win. The winner of the world. Mountain Link. need to know how to handle this Man Mountain link. As Man Mountain threw him around the ring, and off the ropes he came right down across the top of him, what looked like a sure pinfall to the Man Mountain, and Anderson and Czar came into the ring to take over, and the three of them, Raw came off the canvas also, and the three of them finally took over on Man Mountain, and Man Mountain himself ended up disposing of the three of them. The three wrestlers ran away out of the ring after, I should say, they'd taken to him in mid-ring.
There is no way that I'm going to get a lumberjack match with this man. This man is crazy. You understand what I'm saying? This man is crazy. You're going to have Offie around the ring. You're going to have Rick on around the ring. Giant David 6 foot 10 or something around the ring.
Hang on,
I am not going to get in the ring with this bad man. No, forget it. It's off.
It's too late.
Never.
It's too late. It's already started. It's already started. Anytime, any place. I have been assured by the promoters that it will take place. I don't know where, but I hope it's here, and I'm going to tear Anderson apart.
We've had many letters asking to tell us about wrestlers from the past. One name that always comes up is Lofty Blomfield, New Zealand amateur champion in 1929, a ring legend who became an international star and made famous the Octopus Clamp. He travelled to Australia in 1932, where he wrestled under the name of Walter Browning. Returning to New Zealand, where he began using his own name, he challenged for the world title in 1938 against Bronco Nagurski. The Octopus Clamp was a hold invented by Lofty, and still is a hold no one can counter.
The whole Pacific is talking about Samoan great Siva Afi. Now, we're trying to get hold of Ric Flair to see if he's game enough to step into the ring with him, because Siva Afi has now said that he's available for all challenges. In fact, the New Zealand Wrestling Commission here is trying to bring that about. But here's some more action of Siva Afi last time he was here in New Zealand.
Siva Afi Taragaga.
Moving well.
Nice arm drag by Siva Afi. Tanaka taken by surprise. Comes in, takes Siva around the throat. Wrist lock by Tanaka. Siva giving away a lot of weight. Siva takes it here off Tanaka. It's cauliflower here. Very sore point of the Tanaka makeup. Something I found out myself.
It certainly is, Steve Rickard. My word, I've noticed that a lot of the wrestlers that have wrestled him, and now Siva Afi, have gone for the air, because I've noticed that is certainly the weak point, and that certainly made Professor Tanaka come out of that very, very quickly.
Cauliflower, very painful. It's a very painful thing. Siva trying to... The Siva takes the ear again, and Tanaka applying pressure and moving his head away, trying to keep his ear clear of Siva. Once again, Siva takes that ear. Tanaka feeling it. He's let go the toe.
Mind you,
feels a lot of pain.
Mind you, Siva Afi should not get that one going too much, Steve Rickard. Otherwise, he's going to be up for disqualification, of course, from Chris Miller.
Yes, if he doesn't break with a count of 5, he could be up for a DQ. There's Tanaka taking over. He drives the head of Siva into turnbuckle. Still say if Siva wrestled his match right, he would keep away and just in and out, drop kicks, fast moves, arm drags, etc. But Siva seems to be going to try and wrestle him close.
Well, as I said, Steve, from a layman's point of view, I think that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. He's got to really work Professor Tanaka around until he runs out of steam, because quite obviously Siva Afi is the fitter man of the two. It's the weight of Professor Tanaka that's going to be the telling thing if Taragaga keeps too close in.
Of course, with Tanaka, as I say, the unpredictable. The heavy chop goes across it. Siva moves out fast from underneath, driving a fist into the ear again of Tanaka.
The other thing
to be concentrating on that ear, and in my opinion, too much. He should back off and wait for Tanaka to come out of that corner.
You think perhaps he could have followed that one up with a drop kick while he had him at his mercy in the corner. There's a chop from Professor Tanaka. Siva Afi getting too close in there on the weight of Tanaka.
Tanaka, as I said, very unpredictable. He's a lot fitter than what people think. Siva, a very fit young wrestler, but I know from experience, I have wrestled Tanaka myself for 8 long rounds, and Tanaka was still right there at the finish, right towards the end of the match. But he now applies pressure to the severe nerve centers at the side of the neck of Siva. He drags him to the mat using the hair. The referee asked him, did he use the hair, not seeing the move. Head-centered by Siva.
Look at the strength of that man. Turning round, Steve.
Well, he has shoulders like a bull. He has a 23-inch neck. The size, average size of a woman's waist, or in later cases, and a lot smaller than what Tanaka is around the neck himself.
Well, he had Sivarapi Taugaga bent over like a bow. But Sivarapi on his feet again.
Tanaka, well known. He's already sent 3 wrestlers to hospital. He's gone brutal and vicious.
Well, there were about 3 or 4 punches to the ear of Tanaka, followed up by a headbutt to the ear, and now a headbutt to the midsection of Tanaka from Sivarapi Taugaga. Let's hope that he doesn't get too enthusiastic and get carried away with this.
Siva's still coming in too close to Tanaka. He's taking the match to him, but he's actually moving in. Like Tanaka in that corner there, just stays in there, and he comes out there. Obviously, looks like he probably would have chopped into the neck, knocking Taugaga to the mat. Comes in with another chop into the neck of Sivarapi.
I think the crowd are a little worried about Taugaga and how he's going to get on with this big Japanese wrestler.
Well, this is a match Siva asked for himself. He actually issued a challenge for a single match with Tanaka.
Well, we've got to say, Steve, that this Samoan boy is showing one heck of a lot of guts to put himself up into the ring with Tanaka 5 stone heavier and really working on Taugaga at the moment.
Tanaka, a brilliant young wrestler in his own right. Is Tanaka driving his head into the turnbuckle. Tanaka looks to have Siva in trouble. Puts the wrist into the side of the neck. Drives the pressure into the wrist with his other hand. The referee Miller telling him to break illegal move. Tanaka gets away with a lot of illegal moves. He's so quick with these short karate thrusts and jabs. In many cases, the referee doesn't even know what he's doing.
Yes, that's blinding swiftness in with that short stuff, Steve.
Very fast with his moves for a big man.
And we all know that a short blow delivered just with a pivot is a very telling blow, not only in boxing but also in wrestling.
Well, just had with martial arts, that is the art of it. Siva trying to reach up for that ear again. Tanaka pulling his head back away, trying to pull away from it.
Well, we can't say that Professor Tanaka is absolutely on top. A very clever move from Taugaga, and then a shoulder butt into the chest. Oh, but Tanaka's thrown him right out of the ring. Just took to one side and threw him out. There's Taugaga on the floor. He's stunned. Referee Chris Miller making the count there. He's got 20 to get back into the ring. Let's see if Tanaka will let him back. Yes, he's going to let him back into the ring. No, he's not.
Siva looks like he's himself tied on the ropes.
Yes, he's got his leg there tied on the ropes. You can see it there. That's going to be a little difficult for him to get out. He's going to be counted out here.
And there are 10 count on the apron, and it's good. There goes the gong. The match is over, and the referee has given Tanaka the match. It would have been a count of 10, apron count, and the referee has awarded the match to Tanaka. Sivarapi really holding his own during that match, and taking the match all the way to Tanaka, but Tanaka too cunning.
Coming up at World Pro Wrestling, a chat with the Mongolians, and Farmer Boy Ipo meets Roy Starr. Mean and nasty. The Mongolians have demanded to appear on this program.
I don't understand this. Sivarapi, that's all I ever hear about. We are the world tag team champions. We should be the ones on the air all the time. Not Sivarapi. Who is he? A bum. I don't understand this. What do you say, brother? Huh?
He's a bum, that's all he is. Got the 2 finest wrestlers around right here.
And then you bring up a name like Siva Arthur.
The Man Mountain? Who is he? The big fat farmer from Georgia? He's nothing. Send him back to Georgia where he belongs.
He's the man to come onto this program to tell us that you are the greatest.
We are the greatest.
Are the greatest.
We are the tag team champions of the world. We are
Of anybody, not even Steve Harvey.
We're
Steve
two
Harvey.
finely tuned athletes.
Steve
We're
Harvey is
together.
nothing. He is a bum. He's a boy. He's a man. A man's profession. He's a boy. He belongs back where he came from.
More action in World Pro Wrestling. Farmer Boy Ipo meets Roy Starr of the USA.
Farmer Boy Ipo, Roy Starr. Lock up in the referee's hold and a takedown by Farmer Boy Ipo. Farmer Boy Ipo with the Japanese arm bar. Starr comes up and Ipo takes him down again. Starr comes to his feet. Ipo locking into that arm.
Farmer Boy Ipo has a lot of fans here in the Pacific, and particularly here in New Zealand.
Farmer Boy Ipo, all with the arm lock applied. Roy Starr somersaults over and comes up. Nice counter, kicks off. Both wrestlers come to their feet very fast. Arm dragged by Starr and countered with a head scissors. Head scissors counter, and Ipo locked in those big powerful legs around the head of Roy Starr. Nice move by Starr to counter the head scissors. Right headlock applied. Starr still with the side headlock. Ipo takes him up in the air, drops him over, but Starr holds on.
Well, Ipo's tried one way, Steve. What'll he do? Try that again, you reckon, or try something else together?
Well, it's a little looking at there. They're too close to ropes in this move, and the referee almost broken. Hard to say how Ipo will handle this. The Starr holding on to the head, locks in. Ipo forcing him on the rope. The referee will call for a break. Arm lock. Japanese arm twist. Then in the hand, back over the wrist, behind the pressure. Twist into it to get more leverage.
Yes, nice calculating work by Roy Starr, but nice to counter.
Ipo counters with a Japanese arm twist. Ipo locking in, holding onto the wrist. Throws his hand into the shoulder to apply pressure.
Was getting near that rope for a minute too, but he's got himself away from it now.
Looking for a counter, and he counters. Another Japanese arm twist, and Ipo counters again. Now goes the rope for a break. The referee pulling the wrestlers into mid-ring. Now he's going to the rough tactic. Starr comes back. Oh, on Ipo. Face lock applied by Farmer Boy Ipo. Looking for a counter, looking for a hammerlock here. Succeeds, comes out with a hammerlock. Leads the knee into the side of the arm. Flying there. And a knee drop by Roy Starr. Roy Starr going up onto the third rope. On the top rope, and he dives off. Ipo moves out of the way. Starr comes down on his hands and knees, and he looks as if he hurt himself. And Ipo picks him up for a heavy body slam. And the 280-pound Ipo going up onto the... Oh, he goes up on the third rope, second rope. Dives off, and Starr moves. Gong goes to the end of the match, and the referee's decision in this match will be a draw. So falls a draw decision. Ipo with the face bar applied on Roy Starr. Roy Starr comes out, countering the move with a hammerlock. Starr goes in behind, applying leverage and pressure to this hammerlock, comes down with the knee into the side of the arm. Ipo taken over in a flying mare. Starr comes in with a knee drop, goes up onto the ropes. He climbs the third rope and on the fourth rope, and as he gets on this fourth rope, he dives right off and comes down to miss Ipo.
And that's it from the action at World Pro Wrestling. See you next time. On the mat host tonight, Barry Holland, along with pro wrestling personality and expert Steve Rickard. In this World Pro Wrestling program from the Pacific, another look at that controversial title bout and more action of Siva Api. The Mongolians combine in a tag match against Man Mountain and Roy Starr. But we open with Farmer Boy Ipo against Lars Anderson of the USA.
Lars Anderson, Farmer Boy Ipo. Ipo on the ropes. Anderson brings a heavy snap into the chest, but Ipo fights back. Side headlock applied and a fist to the head.
Lars Anderson, for all his strength, Steve, seems to be very quick to bleat.
Well, he's a very experienced wrestler, Barry, the same man, and also very cunning. We're going to take that into account. He's an accomplished man, and he doesn't let up. There's no doubt about it. He just stays in there all the way.
Right.
Knee goes into the shoulder, and Ipo not getting off the canvas. Anderson moves back in again. Ipo trying to fist to the side of the head, and Anderson backs off into the corner. Headbutt by Ipo. Ipo scorpion Anderson. Anderson not having all his own way in this match. Ipo on the ropes. Anderson taking a side headlock, and he brings a finger thrust into the throat of Ipo. The referee fails to see it. Anderson resting on the blind side, but referee Jack Kendall catches him and warns Anderson. Anderson with the head of Ipo across the top rope. Knee into the side of the neck. And coming down with the knee to the chest.
Now, you certainly never accused Lars Anderson of resting up.
Oh, he just keeps in on top, pouring in all the way.
Yeah.
Everyone by Anderson, and Ipo retaliates. Headbutt and Anderson goes down. Anderson backing off. Very, very cunning man, this Anderson. You never know what he's going to do.
What's he up to now? What is this man up to?
Hammerlock applied by Anderson. He locks the arm behind, on the blind side of the referee again, and throws a punch to this midriff. Come back with a flying kick. And another one. Anderson down. Ipo in behind. Driving his fingers into the nerve centers at the side of the neck. And punching away at the leg. Takes the leg out from beneath Ipo. Anderson control again. Stomps away at the left leg of Farmer Boy Ipo. The knee drop into the inside leg. Look now, he's looking again to the figure four leg lock. Can he apply it? The very, very strong, thick leg of Ipo must be difficult then, but he has the figure four applied. Yes, and the referee has awarded the fall. Ipo submits to the figure four leg lock. The winner of the match, Lars Anderson. Ipo with Anderson on the ropes, headbutts him. Anderson hits the canvas, but Anderson is one of those cunning wrestlers. You never quite know what he is likely to do. He backs into the corner. The referee tells him to come out, but Anderson displays his cunningness by putting out his hand to shake hands. Ipo hesitant about putting that hand up, but Anderson saying no, we will shake. But as he brings the hand in, he takes it and brings the foot into the chest of Ipo.
Lars Anderson may be in good form, but they're still saying he's dodging the tough ones.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never dodged anyone. I am the big one. Do you understand what I'm saying? I want the fans of Singapore, of New Zealand, of Hong Kong, of Honolulu to understand one thing. I have held 2 world championships. And with my brother Gene Anoli, I held the National Wrestling Alliance World Tag Team Championship. And with Larry Henning, the American Wrestling Alliance Championship. And I put up $2,000 everywhere I go in the world to any man that can pin my shoulders to the mat in 18 minutes.
Since that controversial World Championship match between Mark Lewin and Ric Flair, we've had hundreds of letters requesting a replay of the last dramatic moments of that match. And what a night it was.
Well, I wonder just how much punishment Flair can take. Oh, he's tried an eye rake, and my word, he's got him too. All over the top, he hit the referee, and out. Jack Kendall is out of the ring. Jack Kendall is out of the ring, stunned. Mark Lewin has Flair up over his head. He's pinned him. There's no referee in there to count. No referee in there to count. Lewin looking over the ropes, coming back to Flair, chopping him on the head. Flair chops him to the eyes. Both two very tired men. Oh, and Flair's out. Flair's out of the ring. Flair's out of the ring. Jack Kendall coming back into the ring. Here we go. Mark Lewin has him by the trunks. Over he goes. A suplex. And down he goes. And my word, I think that's the end of Ric Flair. There it is. 1, 2, 3. And Mark Lewin is the winner and becomes the world champion. Mark Lewin, the winner, becomes the world champion. Absolutely jubilant scenes here at the YMCA in Auckland. Mark Lewin holding the belt high. Mark Lewin, the winner. My word, there's a consultation of referees. Let's have a look at this. There's a consultation of referees. One of the referees is telling Mark Lewin that he is not the champion. He has indicated that Mark Lewin threw Ric Flair, don't you? Threw him over the top of the ring. Those are the championship rules. He threw him over the top rope, and so he has been disqualified.
Well, my reaction is the same after seeing the replay. I still feel elated and just to get to the point, I still feel like I am the world champion, which is a great feeling. And I know I have the edge on Ric Flair, and I know darn well that he won't want to defend this title against me, because he always has the feeling, well, this guy beat me 1, 2, 3. And I've actually had my hand in the air, and I felt the belt, so I know how I got the winning feeling. So that's the streak I'm going to go on. And this, of course, if Mr. Flair comes my way, I'd be most honored.
There's been a lot of talk about Siva Arthur having a go at the title with Ric Flair. Now, what do you think of Siva Arthur?
Well, first of all, I've spent a lot of time in Hawaii with, so everybody knows that Steve Rickard and I are, well, the ones that really, well, we love him. You know, we feel that he's going to do just exactly like Peter Maivia himself did, represent his people with real style. And I know that he's in the country right now, so he'll be facing Lars Anderson for the Polynesian belt, and I want to wish him good luck. And I know that he'll be well received here because everybody feels close to him like he's a native of this country.
Ric Flair is expected to give Mark another crack at that World Championship match if negotiations can be completed. What a match that would be.
Talking of requests for replays of exciting matches brings me once more to Siva Afi, certainly the most exciting and popular talent in the Pacific, and soon to be back in New Zealand. Well, you, the fans, have demanded that World Pro Wrestling show him in action again.
Miller coming right out at the start of that round. He brings that heavy knee into the stomach of Siva Afi. Throws Siva Afi, throws the fist, but Miller comes back in with another one to the side of the head, and Sweet William reaches through, taking the tights of Siva to drag him back on the ropes to give Miller the advantage. Brute Miller with a big elbow to the neck of Siva, along with Miller and Sweet William. And now with the Mad Dog and Markoff in the country, there's certainly a rough crew of wrestlers wrestling throughout New Zealand. And Siva throws Brute Miller off. Heavy fist to the side of the head, and Siva comes back with a big elbow to the chest. Miller right in there again with a foot to the solar plexus. Crowd falling for Siva Afi. Miller takes over, takes his time, but taken over, and there's Miller really performing with that noise, the noise that seems to affect him so much when the crowd gets going with that noise, and Miller backs off. He seems to have ear trouble or some type here that the noise really gets to him. But Sweet William just there, he just put his arm through the ring and pulled the leg of Siva out from under him, giving Miller the advantage to take over on Siva. And a heavy knee drop down across the chest of Siva Afi. Referee warning Miller to stop using illegalities. Miller forces the head of Siva Afi down across the top rope, and he brings a fist into the side of the head. Now he twists Siva over with his throat down across the top rope, and he's going to the outside of the ring to apply the pressure from outside, pulling the head down over the top rope and springing to the floor. Reaches through, dragging Siva out. Now he's going to strangle. He's strangling with the bottom rope. Siva in trouble.
Here's Siva Afi in real trouble there, Steve Rickard. He really got on the receiving end of that one.
Nice move by Siva. Miller comes in. He brings a donkey kick into the chest of Miller and caught Miller unawares. Now it's one fist to the side of the head, and then another, and a headbutt to follow up with. Siva certainly showing his worth here in this match.
He's showing a lot of heart, Steve Rickard. Goodness gracious me, he's had a bit of punishment there. He keeps him coming back. But I think it's superior fitness. In fact, he is a clever wrestler. It brings him back each time, doesn't it?
No doubt about Siva. He's a very fine young wrestler, and he didn't win the New Zealand Heavyweight Championship for nothing. And he takes Miller up in a Japanese stomach throw, comes down into a pinning position, but Miller throws off.
Great move from Siva Afi there. I thought that was it. I thought it would be a count of 3. But Miller needs a bit more softening before he can turn that one. There's a drop kick. Trying for the pin. 2. He missed his 3rd. Miller able to summon his last reserves of energy to throw Siva Afi off. And there goes a chop to the throat.
Siva Afi in trouble as Brute Miller brings a double fist up into the stomach. Brute throws the head of Siva Afi into the top turnbuckle. Miller taking over. Seaver's certainly taking some punishment here, but he seems to come back. He's on that receiving end, but right away he gets back in there and he's taken over. Now he drives the head of Miller into the turnbuckle. Miller showing his cunningness. Takes Seaver and takes over again, and now he's taking him across the ring, throwing him into the ropes. Comes up, he goes for that big elbow, but Seaver ducks underneath and comes off this other rope with a fine high drop kick to knock Brute to the floor. Brute here in trouble. It could be all over. There's a headbutt by Seaver. This could be the finish. Seaver looking in there, but Sweet William obviously came in the ring, and Seaver caught him coming in, and he drop kicked him, and he's taking him over a high back drop. Seaver taking over on Sweet William as well, and there's the gong goes, but the match is over, but Seaver Arfie was right on top of Miller, and now Brute Miller comes in to save Sweet William, and now he's taken hold of Seaver Arfie as the Brute comes in, starting action in this match, and both wrestlers, two of them at one time, on to Seaver Arfie. Seaver Arfie fighting back here. He's still not going to give up this match, thinking the match is not over. Referee telling Sweet William to leave the ring, and Miller takes over on Seaver, but there's referee Miller doing a good job here, stopping this match. Seaver's still coming back on Sweet William.
Siva Apa, soon to be in New Zealand. Next on World Pro Wrestling, the Mongolian tag team versus Man Mountain and Roy Starr. This season in the South Pacific, we seem to have the world's strongmen. There's Man Mountain Link and the Mongolians.
Well, there's not much to tell, really, except we are the best in the world. We've been everywhere in the world. Hawaii, Tonga, Samoa. We train hours every day. We eat, we sleep, we train together. The whole day is training, and that's why we are the best tag team there is in the world.
7 days a week you're at their training room.
7 days a week, 10 hours a day. It all depends upon how bad we really want it, and we're going to keep it.
You're telling me you're afraid of nobody. Nobody can take that.
Nobody at all. We're going to do anything we can to keep these belts. And so far, we've gone against the best in the world. And look who's got the belts, the Mongol brothers.
Strongest tag team in the entire world. Look at his arm. Look at his man. All solid muscle. There is no one in the game today that can ever come close to us in anything. We're the strongest tag team champions in the entire world.
You had a bit of a tough tussle there again.
What do you mean?
Man Mountain.
What do you mean, Adam?
Man Mountain,
Fat
man?
He-
No way! When I get him in the ring next time, I'm going to take him, I'm going to slam him in every corner of the ring, then I'm going to throw him outside, and after I'm going to look at him, and I'm just going to smile.
Fat man will go back to Georgia where he belongs, at a pig farm.
Well, we've heard them talk. Now let's see the action. The torrid tag between the Mongolians and Man Mountain and Roy Starr.
Mongolians. Roy Starr in the ring. Roy Starr stays in the ring. Now, who will come out as his opponent? Will it be Tsar or Gore? Gore coming out in the center ring. Gore locks up. Takes a side headlock. Wrist lock. Applying the pressure, and Gore trying to break this wrist lock. Gore takes Starr to canvas. Referee warns him for using the hair. Side headlock applied. Roy Starr looking for another counter, comes over with an overarm wrist lock. Gore forcing his way back, tags his partner Tsar.
It felt like for Roy Starr, he was going quite well too to start things with.
Now Tsar has taken over, the 300-pound powerlifting champion. Tries a Japanese wrist lock. Forcing the hand back over the wrist. He adds more pressure. Tsar with that wrist lock applied. Converts and goes into a closer arm lock. Taking, looks like he's taking Starr into the corner. Will he tag his partner again? Yes. Yes, good tag wrestling. Not staying there too long. Gore comes in and takes hold of the arm. Also goes in close to apply more leverage. Gore takes Starr to canvas, so he's in the head. The referee Calls for a break. Old Gore, it was illegal. Gore back up, side headlock applied.
Suppose he pushed the referee then too, Steve.
Yes, certainly is Barry. Now, Star again, Roy Star again with that overarm wrist lock. Referee Kendall falls to the count for 2 and back lock and drop kick by Roy Star. Roy Star has his partner. Man Mountain comes into the ring. The crowd going wild as soon as Man Mountain enters the rope. In behind with a waist lock. Can he do anything with it? Dar runs in, but bounces off. Man Mountain. Gore goes down. Dar leaves the ring.
He shrugged him off.
It's Gore not wanting to have anything to do with the Man Mountain. What a massive man. And the 400-pound sitting on the top of Gore. Gore cannot move. Dar rushes in, and Man Mountain pushes Dar on the top of Gore and straddles the boatman, the 400-pound Man Mountain, across the 2 Mongolians. The world champions, Mongolians, underneath the 400-pound Man Mountain link. Man Mountain, the massive Man Mountain, standing in the middle of the ring, waiting for Dar to come to him. Now Mountain locks up. Dar, the strongest man, one of the strongest men in the world, trying to lift the Man Mountain lifts Dar up like a baby. Gore bounces off him. Man Mountain dragging Dar up, throws that heavy fist into the top of the head.
He managed to pull some hair there too. Oh, amazing man. He's like a big cuddly teddy bear.
What a massive man, Barry. What a massive man. They just bounce off him.
Massive.
Roy Star came. Roy Star comes in. Dar waiting there. Dar tags out. Gore in. The Mongolian Gore. Referee Jack Kendall. Gore. Referee telling Gore to come in, but Star moves in on him, throws a forearm into the chest. Gore on the rope. Knee lift by Roy Star. Well, he'll certainly feel a little bit warm around the ears after that one. Gore trying to fight his way out. Fights his way to his feet and brings a heavy forearm into the back of Roy Star.
Well, Zar's got his strength back after that massive workout with that massive Man Mountain link.
Zar in there, heavy forearm to the chest. He's pounding away at the chest of Roy Star. Referee told Zar to break on that. Again, Roy Star straight across the rope. Into turnbuckle, heavy knee in. Man Mountain enters the ring. The referee telling Man Mountain he must leave. Zar illegally, but Gore holding on to Roy Star from outside the ring. He breaks as soon as the referee returns. Side headlock applied, but Zar lifting Roy Star up above his head and drops him across the turnbuckle. Roy Star caught and drops to the floor. That's the finish of the match. And the referee, the referee has disqualified the 2 Mongolians for dropping a star across the turnbuckle. The winner of the match is Man Mountain Link and Roy Star. World Tag Team Champions, and this is what's happening to them when they're in the ring with a man the size of Man Mountain Link. The Man Mountain beckons Zar into the ring as he drops Gore onto canvas, and here he straddles the boat. And the 400-pound Man Mountain Link
on top of the World Tag Team Champions. And that's it from World Pro Wrestling. Steve and I hope to catch you next time. With pro wrestling personality and expert, Steve Rickard. In this program of World Pro Wrestling from the Pacific, it's elimination time for the TV Knockout Championship. We see the return of Tony Rickard against Gore the Mongolian. Peter Lauder meets Steve Rickard, and Lars Anderson clashes with Samoa Joe. But first, it's highlights from the recent Commonwealth title match between Steve and Lars Anderson. Good wrestling by these two all the time. That mind is ticking over. The mind of Lars Anderson ticking over. What will I do to get myself out of this situation? Certainly locked in at the moment, but by no means beaten in this championship, Commonwealth Championship bout. Lower back in a holding pattern. Steve Rickard wanting to vary things a little. In comes the knee into the back of Lars Anderson. See that perspiration pouring off. There's the face of the both of them. More work going on in the face of Anderson than Rickard. Anybody said that Commonwealth title bouts were easy? Certainly not in this case. Two fine wrestlers. Rickard still got Anderson's left arm up his back. Endeavoring to do something with the right arm, but it looks as though Anderson endeavoring to get that around the back of Rickard. In fact, if the referee wasn't there, I'm sure there might be even an endeavor to grab some hair. So you can see how those shoulders are pinned back on Anderson at this stage. It's a difficult position to get out of. Well, Anderson not using up a great deal of energy at the moment to get out of it. Probably more mental energy being consumed at the moment. One minute, round three. The defender, Steve Rickard, of his Commonwealth title, hasn't looked like losing this one yet. At that point, neither has Lars Anderson looked like being a loser. Nicely poised. Might see a bit of action now. Rickard's up on his feet, but he's into the turnbuckle. There'll have to be a break here. Yes, referee Kendall calling for the break. He just want Anderson there to, he doesn't want a break. To get those fists going into the stomach of Steve Rickard. Real close quarter stuff. The bell. The end of round three. Anderson still doesn't want to stop. He's been given a bit of room, so he wants to work on Rickard, but there it is. Round three in this Commonwealth title bout between Lars Anderson and Steve Rickard. We're into round four. This Commonwealth title bout. And it looks as though we've got blood. We've got blood, and that's an unhappy sight. And in fact, Lars Anderson is playing on that point. He's broken the skin on the forehead of Steve Rickard and really working on that point. The defending champion is on the canvas and he is bleeding. And it looks like there's a fair amount going into his eyes as well, which won't help, and a scream from one of the ladies in the crowd. Not happy at the sight of blood. Nobody would be happy at the sight of blood. at this point in this Commonwealth title bout. Well, how long can the champion carry on as Anderson continues to work on it? Back comes that fist from Rickard. Maybe he's still got some fight left in him. Looks as though he could have. Another fist to Lars Anderson. Back it comes. Anderson's starting to waver a little now. As Rickard continues with those fists. Another one to the chest of Anderson. There's plenty of fight left in Rickard here. Back it comes as Anderson goes back onto the turnbuckle. Anderson on the turnbuckle. Rickard keeps working as the referee tries to break them up as they're on the ropes. Now onto the ropes goes Anderson. And the sleeper hold. We've waited for it, but Anderson. Now that's interesting. Anderson managed to break out of the sleeper hold by throwing Rickard over the ropes. Now, will he be able to get back in? Well, it's not very often we see the sleeper hold broken, but it was that time by Lars Anderson. These fine wrestlers is really building up into something of a great Commonwealth title match. It's a pity just what's happened to Steve Rickard. It will affect them to some degree. Now, at the side of the ring now, that is Tony Rickard. As Lars Anderson works on the leg, looks like Lars Anderson has tried the figure four. And if Rickard gets into the figure four, he'll never get out of it. There's Tony Rickard into the ring. It's Tony Rickard. Well, this is a turnaround. The boy helps Dad. Now it's out of the ring, so Dad is able to break out of the figure four. I would not think he would have got out of it otherwise. Look at the mess on the face of Rickard. Fist to Lars Anderson. Lars Anderson now wavering. He's against the rope. The bell is gone. The bell is gone to the end of the match. Referee Jack Kendall went to the canvas. These two are fighting on. Referee Jack Kendall now. This is amazing. Steve Rickard is going for the throat of Lars Anderson. I just can't believe what a time of Steve Rickard these days. He's really getting so worked up on the man. This time nothing happened to his son. His son is in there. Tony Rickard in to help this time. Well, it's just quite beyond me that Steve Rickard should go to these sort of lengths. And it looks as though the referee has decided that it is a double disqualification. There's the signal. What a tragic end to what was looking like a great Commonwealth title match between these two. A double disqualification on Lars Anderson and Steve Rickard.
The referee threw it out. You know, I'll say one thing, you know, and I'll say it very clearly. You know, like, I am the greatest wrestler that New Zealand has ever seen. And I don't like the idea of the skinny kid getting involved in my matches. I had the old man beaten down. You understand that? Beaten down. And the kid gets involved. You know, but I'll say one thing. You should try the 2 out of 3 like that, huh? 2 out of 3 falls like that and find out what happened. Let's do it American style. American professional wrestling, let's do it that way and find out what happened, you know. But I think even though the kid got involved, yeah, Rickard, you're the veteran, well, so am I. You're the champion, but I'm going to be the champion. You understand? I am the uncrowned champion. The odds were even.
That's a tough assignment. You know, I don't reckon he can do it, but time will tell. Now it's to the TV Championship belt, and the first elimination sees the return of Tony Rickard. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's more experienced than ever. And he's up against Gore the Mongolian. Gore the Mongolian and Tony Rickard. First thing we notice is that there's a lot more beef put on Tony Rickard there. I think about, it must be just over a year since we've seen him here. Yeah, but definitely over a year since we've seen him here in our World Pro Wrestling action. And he's certainly looking a lot better. Oh, there, he's putting a leg across the face of Gore the Mongolian. Now he's got an arm lock. As the Mongolian goes down to the ground. That's one half of the Goran's Mongolian teeth. Good start from Tony Rickard. He's been doing a lot of work in the gym and had quite a bit of overseas experience over the past year. And up first to the stomach and one to the back of the neck from the Mongolian. Back comes Tony Rickard. Heavy to the chest. Now I must say he is looking good. The overseas experience he's had too, up with his father up in Pakistan and other places in the east and around the Pacific Islands. That's probably helped him a lot. We'll see here against the Mongolian. A tough opponent to get up against. Gore the Mongolian. Strong man. His brother's even stronger. Well, you see Tony Rickard's feeling that. Wanting to get off those knees if he can. Trying to hold those strong hands of Gore the Mongolian. Oh, heavy one, knee. Well, tries to get up again. He's going to have to watch that knee from the Mongolian. He's up. He's up a good showing. Good showing by Tony Rickard, but here he'll be thrown over. Slid out of that one. Okay, now that's interesting. Back somersault is count of 2 there. Back comes Tony Rickard and Gore the Mongolian. Oh! Fighting the breeze there. They're giving Gore all the chance to get back with that foot into the back, Tony Rickard. He's on the rope, so there'll have to be a break. Well, for all the Tony Rickard fans, they'll be glad to see him back in the ring. He got up to a great start, but they'll want to see him get some initiative back here. It's sad to see him lose that initiative now after such a great start. The Mongolian's got the upper hand at this stage over Tony Rickard. Across the ring goes Rickard. Back to the Mongolian. Over and back with somersault. Well, I think Gore the Mongolian senses that having a bit of problems. Bit of a problem there is Tony Rickard in the lower part of his back, and the Mongolian is playing on that particular point. There goes a knee into it right now. He's on the rope. Referee calling for the break. Yes. We've got a bit of surprise coming through from Tony Rickard. And that's where I think if he's going to have any chance. Oh, right outside the ring goes Tony Rickard. Goes to have he had any chance of beating Gore the Mongolian, then youthfulness and surprise would probably be the thing. At the moment, a heavy fall onto the wooden floor for the Mongolian. Head front on the canvas, referee pointing out, grab the hair. Rules once again, grabs the hair, referee telling him to stand back. Like I think in a way threatening to disqualify him. Come on, Tony Rickard, back into that ring. Gore the Mongolian giving him no chance to get back in the ring. Now he's going to headbutt. Referee, Jack Kendall saying stand right back. And lovely and beautiful cradle. Yes. A lovely cradle for Tony Rickard. And there's a great start for the night program. Tony Rickard, youthfulness and surprise, paid off there. So a win to Tony Rickard. Well, surprise was certainly the essence in this one. Tony Rickard endeavoring to get back into the ring as Gore the Mongolian had the upper hand. There's the head into the stomach and the chest of Tony Rickard. Back here comes the rope. Referee Jack Kendall telling Gore the Mongolian to stand back a bit. And there's a surprise as he goes over and gets Gore the Mongolian in the cradle and gets a surprise win here in our first match. More action from the TV Championship right after this break. Mark Lewin shortly. Well, we'll hope so. I know you'll be looking forward to a rematch between those two, Mark Lewin and King Kamaka. Now let's go to our tag match for tonight to ring announcer Ray Columbus.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a heavyweight tag wrestling contest. In the red corner from New Zealand, Rob McCall and his partner from Samoa, Tamasasa. In the blue corner from Australia, Larry O'Day, and his partner from Hawaii, King Kamaka. The referee, Chris Miller.
King Kamaka, Larry O'Day. Referee telling one out, O'Day leaves the ring, Kamaka and Rob McCall.
Well, if you haven't seen it before, folks, I'm quite sure we'll see the power of these two together, Kamaka and Larry O'Day.
Kamaka locks up, referee's hold, and McCall takes the first move, and he has an Japanese arm bar, Japanese arm twist applied to King Kamaka.
Well, it is McCall to get the first one up. There's a lot of noise coming for Kamaka. Not able to counter this one as yet. I think McCall's looking for that tag, if he can get it too, before Kamaka moved in, but he's a little late.
Hole on the floor outside the ring, thrown out by Kamaka. Tamasasa from Samoa goes to the assistance of McCall.
Get back in here, says King Kamaka. A rough start for Rob McCall, helped by Tamasasa. McCall back into the ring. Kamaka pushes the referee on the right end of the turnbuckle.
McCall still on the floor outside the ring. Tamasasa again assisting Rob McCall back to the apron of the ring. The referee telling O'Day obviously tagged, and the referee telling O'Day to stay away from the ropes and allow McCall to enter the ring. Incidentally, the referee will count, but he will stop his count and always commence it again if there's any interference from a wrestler inside, such as was the case with O'Day.
Well, McCall got himself into the ring. Still a little dazed, though, and Larry O'Day wasting no time. McCall is going to get none of his breath back, he reckons. Straight to the head goes to the turnbuckle again, Rob McCall. There's the Kamaka. That was quick thinking by Rob McCall. In fact, he's done more quick thinking.
Coming back on his forearm today. Drilled with right across the ring. Good drop kick by Rob McCall. Never known that. Well, McCall looked to be right out of this match, but he certainly come back into it, Barry.
Well, Tamasasa comes in and makes the tag behind the referee's back while the referee keeps Kamaka out.
Tamasasa. Tamasasa with the arm twist applied to O'Day.
Tamasasa comes back in the corner. The tag is made. Back comes Rob McCall. Unlock still applied on Larry O'Day. I don't think Larry O'Day quite expected what was going to happen from Rob McCall, but now looks like these two will have the upper hand. Rob McCall to get the treatment again.
Heavy knee by Kamaka. Body slam. Ooh. Knee drop, and Kamaka covering McCall. He didn't even try for the fall. He actually pulled McCall off the canvas. Pulled him away from the canvas, not taking the fall. Just quite content to carry on punishing him. Sasa tagged and comes in the ring, takes the arm. Kamaka stops him.
Elimination number 3 in time for Anderson to show his class against fiery Samoan Joe. Loud Anderson, Samoan Joe. He'll go straight in. Very popular figure on the New Zealand circuit and in fact in the Far East circuit. Always gets off to it. Very fiery start. Loud Anderson already saying something to the referee. And playing to the crowd as well. Did you see that? Did you see that? Loud Anderson. One half of the famous tag team. Oh, what a hit. Notice Anderson going back in the turnbuckle. Fist for the... Lars Anderson, who certainly win any Kenny Rogers lookalike contest. Heavy fist in the face. Another one. Play for Samoa Joe. Just make quieten him down, feels Lars Anderson. Take a lot more than that to put Samoa Joe down and take it comes. Knee there. More fist to the chest and the stomach, and Lars Anderson playing on the ropes this time. And quick timer. Lovely work by Samoa Joe. That's what the crowd like to see. No, no, he said. That looked like really one of the solar plexus. Beautiful knee jump into the neck of Lars Anderson. Across the body, gets the count of 2. There comes Anderson. Looked a little tired getting up that time. Lars Anderson, a very strong man. Well, we'll probably favour him in a contest like this. Samoa Joe has done well. He's had a good year this year. Went from strength to strength last year. Gone along on the same lines this year. The overseas experience really starting to show. A little playing for time goes on from Lars Anderson. Anderson throws Samoa Joe to the ropes. Oh! Shoulder into the chest of Lars Anderson, but he's quickly up. Samoa Joe on top pulls that hair of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe wastes no time of fighting back. This is interesting. One way, then the other, but Samoa Joe is getting the throws in. That's probably to some surprising but good news for Samoa Joe fans. Going well against the strength of Lars Anderson. Let's look towards those ropes. But it's Anderson who throws Samoa Joe to the ropes, and in goes the shoulder. Well, as you can imagine, that can be a pretty heavy thing as you come off the rope. You have a shoulder going to the chest. What's Anderson trying here? It looks as though suplex is on there. He's across, and Jack Campbell gives the count of 2. Off rolls Samoa Joe. Well, those suplexes must certainly be felt when they're done. Now, Lars Anderson, it looks as though just playing with Samoa Joe a little. Doesn't get that 3 count. That's what's needed for the pin. Samoa Joe looking a little tired. Oh, he missed! He missed! Lars Anderson missed! And there's the famous headbutt of Samoa Joe. Crowd love that one. Anderson in trouble now as he's thrown to the canvas by Samoa Joe. Back comes Samoa Joe. He misses this time. Well, he fell heavily on that knee. I thought heavily on one of his forearms too, so Lars Anderson wasting no time in getting back in. Now this may be the death knell for Samoa Joe. It looks as though he's going to try his famous figure 4. Lars Anderson with the figure 4 on Samoa Joe. Now this one, figure 4, they don't come out of the sleeper hole. They don't come out of this one either when Lars Anderson tries his figure 4. Samoa Joe is fighting. He's saying no to Jack Campbell. No, I don't give in. He must give in. He must give in. They don't come out of this one. Do you, says Jack Campbell. Do you? Yes. And there it is. He's given in. It's a win to Lars Anderson with the figure 4. Lars Anderson certainly didn't have this one all his own way. As you see here, Samoa Joe is doing really well until this particular point when he had this heavy fall, heavy on the knee, heavy on the forearm, and as I said, that seemed to be the death knell for Samoa Joe. And in fact it was, as Lars Anderson came quickly in, heavily on those vulnerable points of Samoa Joe. And that was the knee, first of all. And then he twisted himself around into his now world-famous figure 4. And there it was all over. A win to Lars Anderson. And that's it from World Pro Wrestling. Well, I don't know about you. I can't wait for that match between Anderson and Rickard over 3 falls. But join me next time for more on-the-mat action from the Pacific. Tonight, Barry Holland, along with pro wrestling personality and expert Steve Rickard. In In this program of World Pro Wrestling, 3 more elimination bouts for the TV Championship. Lars Anderson is still running hot about Steve Rickard, and tonight he meets Steve's son, Tony, while Steve will meet the winner of our first encounter between Tsar the Mongolian and Ali Tuhinga of Rarotonga. Ali Tuhinga in the green shorts. No mistaking, Tsar the Mongolian, the world powerlifting champion. He's a strong man, all muscle. I did say Ali Tuhinga from Rarotonga. In fact, originally I was from Niue, I do believe. A man from the Pacific. Pretty daunting sort of a task to be up such a big and such a strong man as Tsar the Mongolian. Throws him off. And just, well, it seems so easy, doesn't it? But quickly back. Ali Tuhinga. Locked together. Twist Tsar around. Put that arm lock on. He's lifted, thrown off awkwardly to the canvas by the Mongolian. This is our 4th elimination bout for the TV Championship belt. Heavy fist to the chest. But he's on the rope, so he'll have to break. Jack Kendall giving the count for the break. Ali Tuhinga stays on the rope. Back comes the Mongolian. That knee into the stomach. And more fist work on the chest. Wear down. Man from the Pacific, Ali Tuhinga. He's playing that count right to the end. Is the Mongolian as he keeps Tuhinga on the rope. Back again, the same sort of thing. Neck across the rope. Turn that neck across the rope. Another knee into the stomach. Now he gets him on the rope. Swings across into the other turnbuckle. And back in goes that knee. Now, normally that'd be heavy enough and nasty enough, a knee going in like that. From such a man as Tsar the Mongolian, from such a heavyweight, he'd feel that one. Riley's playing with him. Tsar the Mongolian playing with Ali Tuhinga. Jack Kendall watching closely. Tuhinga's on the rope. Break. Comes the Mongolian to get a little frustrated with Jack Kendall, referee, but Kendall, of course, doing the right thing. He's on the rope. They have to break. Ali Tuhinga, all sorts of trouble. It's elimination bout for the TV belt. Leading him back over the ropes again with more knee into the stomach. Referee once again calls for the break. Well, it looks as though he wants to throw him out here. What's he going to do? Well, dropped him inside. Jack Kendall extricating Ali Tuhinga from the rope. Now the Mongolian hasn't even warmed up yet. It's crashes Ali Tuhinga to the camera. Ali Tuhinga, a little fight back. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a nasty twist around the rope by the Mongolian. Oh, a heavy one. And Ali Tuhinga. Crowd giving Ali the encouragement they can, but oh, this is interesting. Oh, and a heavy one on the back as he looks like the Boston Crab. And yes, down heavily on the small of the back on Ali Tuhinga. And the Boston Crab applied. There goes the bell, and it's a win for Tsar the Mongolian. Well, the 18-stone Niue Islander was really up against it when he met Tsar the Mongolian in this elimination bout. He really was no match for this world powerlifting champion as the Mongolian put him into the ropes for the umpteenth time, and then it was down to the canvas, and it was only just a matter of time before the Mongolian applied a hold and got the winning for the Canberra. Match 2 in the championship, and Tony Rickard, you'll notice with a lot more beef, weighing in over 200 pounds now, meets Lars Anderson of the USA. Lars Anderson and Tony Rickard. They've each had one bout each in the elimination for the TV championship. Lars Anderson taking his wife ahead. Oh, looking around. Not keeping his eye on the ball, as they say. Well, we saw last week Tony Rickard having a win as he came back into the ring. Looking a lot better, weighing a lot more, he's stronger and more experienced. Oh, a knee to the head of Tony Rickard to get the fist in the face this time. Lars Anderson saying, don't fool around with me. Another fist to the side of the neck. Rickard comes back. Oh, Anderson into the turnbuckle. Trying up there, Steve Rickard. Doing what any dad would do at the side of the ring. Giving advice to his son, Tony. Tony Rickard. Now, seems like Lars Anderson doing a little too much talking to Steve Rickard. Getting caught unawares in the youthfulness and the surprise that Tony Rickard is looking out so far. Oh, heavy one. Anything Tony Rickard does, the crowd loves. Nice one by Lars Anderson. Back comes Tony Rickard. Quickly to his feet. What's he going to do now? Throws Rickard around. Back comes Tony Rickard. He seems to have asked what to do. Now you'll notice there he very cunningly slid to the rope so that the break had to be called for. Steve Rickard. Dad, talking to son, urging him on. Don't give up now. You're doing well. Lars Anderson is thrown back and... Oh, yes! A nice twist. Tony Rickard. Well, we can see that experience showing through now. That from the overseas trips that he has done with his father, and Tony Rickard doing a lot more than we ever saw him do about 15 months ago here in World Pro Wrestling. Nice one again, using those ropes. Breaks him, giving him no time. Back comes Tony Rickard, but Lars Anderson looking as though he might just have had enough from this young lad. Lars Anderson now locking Tony Rickard in. Steve wondering what advice he can give Tony Rickard at this stage. Referee cautioning Lars Anderson. There's a lot of talking that's done. Rickard goes for him. Using a bit of cunning on Lars Anderson that time to get some of his own medicine. Now, Rickard trying to get out of that one. Interesting work by Tony Rickard. He's up on his feet and he's done the reverse to Lars Anderson. Anderson goes to that rope again. Well, the break had to be called for. And Lars Anderson's been around a lot longer. Well, knows a lot more of the right things to do when it comes to pro wrestling. Heavy fist work now. Tony Rickard, first time I've seen him do anything like that. And heavily over the somersault on Lars Anderson. Lars saying no, the crowd saying yes. Tony Rickard listens to them as the foot goes in on the chest of Anderson. He hugs those ropes. But in comes another foot from Tony Rickard. Now referee calling to the break. Tony Rickard, unrelenting, getting plenty of encouragement from his father there at the side of the ring. That comes one of the heavy ones in the throat of Tony Rickard by Lars Anderson. It'll take a lot to keep this man down, and Anderson goes to the ropes again. Well, it's a mighty interesting match, this one. I think one could reasonably have expected it to end a lot Anderson up against Tony Rickard, but he's really showing that he's learned a lot of late. Tony Rickard back to that leg into Lars Anderson. They're trying again. Drop kick. Back comes Anderson. Heavy shoulder to the back of Tony Rickard. Now the foot goes in. Working on the side this time. Tony Rickard, what's going to happen here is you've got to try a figure four. It looks as though he is. If he tries this, Rickard will never get out of it. There's the figure four. And as I said before, they don't come out of this one. He locks his opponent's head. But Rickard is not giving in. Jack Kendall saying, give in, give in. He says, no, I won't give in. I think his partner would like him to give in as well. But Rickard is not giving in. He's a fighter. Roy is a fighter, but he won't get out of it. He should give in. I think Steve would like him to give in as well. Rickard is not giving in. Amazing. So Lars Anderson is just holding on. Consuming no energy whatsoever. Give up. Give up. Tony Rickard is not giving up. Jack Kendall asks again. No, I'm not giving up. Lars Anderson applies that pressure even more. Come on, says Steve. There's his Rickard up. Keep fighting. And the pressure really going on for Lars Anderson now. And Tony Rickard tries to break out of this figure four. Crowd egging Tony Rickard on. But there's going to be no avail. Now he's on the rope. He's on the rope, so Jack Kendall has to call for the break. He has to call for the break. Well, that's amazing. It will be the only way you get out of the figure four from Lars Anderson. Tony Rickard on the rope. Back comes Lars Anderson. What happens now? It goes on, but it looks as though Tony Rickard might just have held on for too long. It looks as though he has no strength left in those legs whatsoever. Father urges them on. Back comes Lars Anderson, niggling away at those legs. Now, I would say that it looks as though Tony Rickard has just spent too long in that figure four. Jack Kendall's now querying him. Well, well, well. Came out of it. Came out of it. That was amazing. But in the end, it looks as though all that energy that he used to try and break that figure four hold has told. Tony Rickard looking a little distraught. Unable to get that strength back quickly in those legs. Well, Jack Kendall keeping Lars Anderson back. He's staying back, and that's it. It looks as though Jack Kendall has declared Lars Anderson is the winner. What is this? Why would he do that? He wants to make Rickard give in. Surely the man knows he's won. Robert in Steve. The boot goes in from Steve. Rickard's had enough. He's wild, and who can blame him? If someone's fairly and squarely beaten, why should the man go back to Tony Rickard? But Steve Rickard is incensed. On the rope goes Anderson. Back. Jack Kendall trying to break it up. Crowd egging Rickard on. Yes, yes, they say. There goes the hand of Lars Anderson again. And Steve Rickard sends his son. Jack Kendall says it's all over. And Lars Anderson is considered the winner. Now there's the Mongolian come into the ring to have a go. It looks as though he's not, and it looks as though he might have been laughing at Steve and Tony. Once again, we saw here a great performance like last week from Tony Rickard. But in the end, it was the strength and the cunning and the knowledge and the experience of Lars Anderson that really told. Here it's after Tony has actually broken from the famous figure four of Lars Anderson and then remains in the corner, could not use those legs again. But back came Lars Anderson to then really give the treatment with his figure four hold. Now, why he did this, I'll never know. But watch Steve Rickard. In the ring he comes. He's incensed. Gets put into the side of Lars Anderson. He's had enough. Lars Anderson breaks his figure four. Tony Rickard rolls to the side, and in comes Steve with a fist to the chest. Back goes Lars Anderson. He's not giving up. Jack Kendall tries to push him away. But Steve Rickard has had enough. He saw his son go down, well and truly beaten. And in the end, he gave up. Why did this man, Lars Anderson, come back and have another go? Now it's Steve's turn into the ring to take on the winner of our first elimination bout. Down the Montgomery. Oh! Wow, this is unbelievable. Steve Rickard is still hopping mad at Down the Montgomery. So I did say, oh, he's going to hit the ring. What a sensational start. Well, I thought the Down the Montgomery was laughing at the fact that Tony Rickard had been beaten and had been worked on by Lars Anderson, and it looks as though that's really incensed Steve Rickard. He's absolutely fired up. In fact, I don't think he can believe it himself. Dar, winner of tonight's first bout, he's got a lather up, and so is Steve after that, coming to the ring and working on Lars Anderson. Everyone in the back of the neck from Steve Rickard. More fists this time to the front of the neck. Back comes Lars, Dar Mongolian. And there's that fisticuffs between the both of them. One then the other. There's a heavy twist and second one. To the side of the neck of Dar. Oh, it's like a rusty gate. And the sleeper already. The sleeper already. They've only just got warmed up. Could be all over already. There's Dar Mongolian. He's twisting. He's fighting it. Especially Steve Rickard, the sleeper. I think the crowd have worked up to a bit of a lather here too. The way Steve Rickard started this one off, and it looks as though he'll successfully apply the sleeper again, and there it is. Well, well, well. How quickly all that came upon the world powerlifting champion, Dar Mongolian. Now he's not breaking. Rickard is not breaking. He's still mad. Jack Kendall is beckoning him to break the sleeper hold. As we all know, it's not the sort of hold you want to hang on to and hang on to. Dar has got no fight whatsoever. Sleeper hold's been applied. And Jack Kendall cannot break. He cannot break Steve Rickard. I've never seen Steve Rickard this mad. He's still mad. Still needs Jack Kendall to tell him to stand back. Now he'll be foolish to come and do anything else. Now we see Brother Gorin here. Brother Gorin tending to Dar. Steve Rickard just holding back. Jack Kendall telling Gore to get out of the ring. Jack Kendall dealing with Gore and keeping him away. Meanwhile, Steve Rickard he's still hopping, man. I've never really seen him go like this. Dar looks though he's still out for the count. Quite excited. They're coming up on their feet as Steve Rickard leaves the ring. Gore comes back in to talk to referee Jack Kendall. I think he's sort of saying that wasn't fair at all. And that Rickard should possibly be disqualified, but it looks as though it's a win, this time round, to Steve Rickard. Well, there goes the Mongolian, and I wonder how quickly he'll recover from that one from Steve Rickard. This was an amazing match, first because Steve Rickard was so fired up. And the other thing, for the shortness of the match. These two men, these two powerful men, could have been expected to fight on for quite a while. But it was all over in no time flat as Steve Rickard took Dar the Mongolian down in his now famous sleeper hold. There was a fight put up by Dar the Mongolian, but not for very long. It wasn't long till Jack Kendall checked Dar out and then checked the arms and found that there was no life left in them. The real thing was Steve Rickard kept on. Now, this is terribly dangerous to hold on to the sleeper hold, but he kept on and on, despite the beckoning of the referee, Jack Cadwell.
Lars, you must be pretty hot about the Rickard's ringside interference.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't like anybody interfering with my matches. Rickard, you got involved in my business. But I'll tell you one thing, Tony Rickard, listen very carefully. The next time you ever get near me, close enough where I can grab your scrawny neck, I'm going to slap the figure 4 on your leg, and I'm going to crack your leg, put you out of the sport of wrestling. And you, Steve Rickard, it doesn't matter where it is. But remember one thing. Remember that kid in Hamilton, that farm boy that came crawling in the ring and wanted to wrestle me and walked out with a broken nose, dragged out with a broken shoulder? Well, the same thing's going to happen to you. Doesn't matter where it is, Steve Rickard. Your leg is going to go, the figure 4 is going on you, and your leg is going, and you're going directly to the hospital.
You must be serious.
Serious is not the word. Serious is not the word. Rickard, it is just starting. The wrestling wars of New Zealand and South Pacific are just starting, and you're going to be the victim.
Well, it seems there's certainly no love lost between Anderson and the Rickard. And Anderson continues to offer challenges to Steve, even though Anderson has never beaten Steve, even when he had that great chance in the Commonwealth title. Well, I think you'd agree it's sad to see a Commonwealth title bout end this way. Both wrestlers had it in the bag at one stage. Steve Rickard had the sleeper hold on, and also Lars Anderson had the figure of 4, as you see, being applied here. The figure 4 being applied. Then you see what happens. Tony Rickard goes into the ring and puts the foot in the chest of Lars Anderson, and obviously he has to break the figure 4. It allows Steve to get out. The referee puts Tony Rickard out. The referee comes in now, tries to break it up, and is unable to do so as the fists fly in both directions from these two. And from this point, because of this, the referee's arms wave around. He now declares it a double disqualification. And so both wrestlers, out of the chances they had, very real chances they had, of one, Steve Rickard holding the title, and then in the case of Lars Anderson having Tony Rickard come in to completely foul up his chance of taking the title, the Commonwealth title, off Steve Rickard. Next week, the final elimination bout for the TV Championship. Join me then. On the mat host tonight, Barry Hobbs, along with pro wrestling personality and expert Steve Rickard. In this program of World Pro Wrestling from the Pacific, a sensation. Let's first go back to last week's action. Down the Montgomery. Oh! Wow, this is unbelievable. Steve Rickard is still hopping mad at Down the Montgomery. Oh, I did say. Oh, he's put him at the ring. What a sensational start. Well, I thought that Father Mongolian was laughing at the fact that Tony Rickard had been beaten and had been worked on by Lars Anderson. It looks as though that's really incensed Steve Rickard. He's absolutely fired up. It's the fact that I don't think he can believe it himself. Winner of tonight's first bout. He's got a lather up, and so is Steve after that, coming to the ring and working on Lars Anderson. Everyone at the back of the neck from Steve Rickard. More fists just up to the front of the neck. Back comes Lars, Val Mongolian. And there's a fisticuffs between the both of them. One then the other. There's a heavy quick succession one. To the side of the neck of Zar. Oh, it seems like a rusty gate. And the sleeper already. The sleeper already. They've only just got warmed up. Well, it looks as though it could be all over. Already. The Zar the Mongolian. He's twisting. He's fighting it. Specialty is Steve Rickard, the sleeper. I think the crowd are worked up to a bit of a lather here, too. The way Steve Rickard started this one off, and it looks as though he successfully applied the sleeper again, and there it is. Well. How quickly all that came. The upon the world powerlifting champion, Zar the Mongolian. Now, he's not breaking. Rickard is not breaking. He's still mad. Jack Campbell is beckoning him to break. To break the sleeper hold. As we all know, it's not the sort of hold you want to hang on to and hang on to. Zar has got no fight whatsoever. Sleeper hold's been applied. And Jack Campbell cannot break. He cannot break Steve Rickard. I've never seen Steve Rickard this mad. Well, that's how it ended. Now here's Zar the Mongolian.
This is just a conspiracy to get me out of wrestling. I'm sick and tired of Steve Rickard doing this to us. The man's dangerous. He should be out of wrestling completely. You see what Steve Rickard did to my brother? I mean, he might have put him out of business entirely, or put him out of the sport. We're professional wrestlers. We are the world tag team champions. We have commitments all over the world to defend our titles. And what's he do? It's a conspiracy. The man's just dangerous. He ought to be out of wrestling completely. The day since we came here, who's he put up? Man Mountain, the giant David to get rid of us. But it didn't work. But what's he do? He's supposed to be a troublemaker. He's supposed to be a troubleshooter. He's supposed to be here to make sure things are fair. What happens? He gets in a ring with my brother and cheats. He puts him in an illegal chokehold and tries to put him out of business.
So sure, we all saw what happened. What are you going to do to him next time?
Well, the man was trying to strangle me. First of all, he's got to get healthy first. But we have friends in this sport. Mr. Anderson will take care of Steve Rickard. Maybe next time they get in the ring, maybe Steve Rickard gets his leg broke, huh? There'll be blood spilled in New Zealand the time Mr. Anderson gets done with him. And we'll be back. We'll be back.
Well, Steve Rickard disqualified and Zar the Mongolian injured. And the title goes to Lars Anderson automatically. And he's thrown out challenges to all comers. And first up, it's Merv Fortune of New Zealand. Black and blue. Merv Fortune in black, Lars Anderson in blue. Well, it's not only sensational, but rather tragic that we've lost two of the heavyweights from this championship. Steve Rickard getting disqualified and then Zar the Mongolian unable to carry on. Well, because of Steve Rickard. Lars Anderson already complaining. Continuing to do what he does a lot of and has done a lot of in other matches, and that is a lot of talking. He drives Merv Fortune back into the turnbuckle. Back comes Merv Fortune with a couple of fists to the chest, and back comes Lars Anderson talking. Cheering about it either. Merv Fortune making a bit of a comeback to wrestling here in New Zealand. They've wrestled for a while, but he's been away on a break. Now come back into it and travelling around New Zealand on the New Zealand circuit with Steve Rickard and the pro wrestling team. Lars Anderson, a lot of his attention taken away from him by the audience, or just by chatting to the audience. Now the arm lock applied by Merv Fortune. Applies that pressure. Now the Lars Anderson makes for the rope. Got the rope. The break will be called for. That has been. Then off to Lars Anderson. Raises himself up. Back straight in to Merv Fortune. Throws him down. Now got that arm around the head of Merv Fortune. It looks like we've the last few times we've seen Lars Anderson. We've had that figure four applied, his specialty hold. And will we see it tonight? What he's going to do is wear down his opponent, Merv Fortune. Can't honestly say that he's done that yet. Although he must be favoured over Merv Fortune. But Merv Fortune showing plenty of fight, coming back at Lars Anderson. More fist into the stomach and the chest of Lars Anderson as he holds him in the turnbuckle. Then throws him to the other turnbuckle. Nicely, and good follow-up by Merv Fortune. Head and shoulder going into the stomach of Lars Anderson up against that chin. Slowly wearing him down. Lars Anderson saying no. Referee questioning him. Fortune doing a little bit of talking as well. He goes that hand up onto the head of Fortune. What will happen here? No, so he's got no answer at this stage. A little painful, the twisting of the head. This is it then, the final bout, the TV Championship final. That sensational start to the night's program. Or probably more so the end of last week when Steve Rickard was qualified for holding that sleeper hold way after he was declared the winner. The elimination bout against Zar Belongoria. Well, things have quietened down a little bit as Lars Anderson endeavors to just work on their Fortune now. The Fortune prepared to do that to Lars Anderson a while ago, but more fists to the head of Fortune. Fortune's turn to say no. Back to the fist. It's a heavy one at the back of the neck of Merv Fortune. Oh, and the shoulder going in again. Like Anderson might have gathered his thoughts a little. They're a bit more in control of this match. Merv Fortune. Lucky man being able to get into this position where he's in the final for the championship belt. Anderson continues to talk to the crowd. Merv Fortune figures some way to get out of this headlock of Lars Anderson. There goes the fist to the side of Anderson. Fortune gets himself out of it. Fist going from both of them now. Anderson goes back in that turnbuckle. Both looking a little tired now. Backed off. Heavily into that turnbuckle. A little dazed is Lars Anderson. Yes, he drops Lars Anderson into the match. Hello? Looks like we'll get pushed up. He's going up on that top rope. And wait. Anderson rolled away. Now looks like the one will come off worse than that one will be Merv Fortune. So now it's Anderson's chance to really work on the sore points. And it looks like the figure four will be applied. Figure four easily applied to Merv Fortune there, and he won't get out of this one. We saw Tony Rickard wiggle his way out of it onto the ropes, but it doesn't look like any chance for Merv Fortune. And no siree, the decision has been given by Jack Kendall, a win to Lars Anderson. Merv Fortune fortunate enough to find himself into the finals for the championship belt, and fortunate enough to find himself just about getting Lars Anderson at that stage. But no, he fell heavily as Lars Anderson rolled away. It was then up to Anderson to just slowly work on the leg and then very quickly get himself into his specialty hold, the figure four, for a win over Merv Fortune and a win of the championship TV belt. Well, Steve Rickard's in great form, but Lars Anderson is still saying he can't go the distance in a 2 out of 3-4 match.
I am the greatest wrestler that New Zealand has ever seen. And I don't like the idea of the skinny kid getting involved in my matches. I had the old man beaten down. You understand that? Beaten down. And the kid gets involved.
There's plenty of fight left in Rickard yet. Back it comes as Anderson goes back onto the turnbuckle. Anderson on the turnbuckle. Rickard keeps working as the referee tries to break them up as they're on the ropes. Now onto the ropes goes Anderson. And the sleeper hold. We've waited for it, but Anderson. Well, that's interesting. Anderson managed to break out of the sleeper hold by throwing Rickard over the ropes. Now, will he be able to get back in? Well, it's not very often we see the sleeper hold broken, but It was that time by Lars Anderson. These fine wrestlers is really building up into something of a great Commonwealth title match. It's a pity just what's happened to Steve Rickard. It will affect them to some degree. Now, at the side of the ring now, known as Tony Rickard. As Lars Anderson works on the leg, looks like Lars Anderson will try the bigger ball. And if Rickard gets into the bigger ball, he'll never get out of it. It's Tony Rickard into the ring. It's Tony Rickard. Well, this is a turnaround. The boy helps Dad. Now it's out of the ring. So Dad is able to break out of the figure four. I would not think he would have got out of it otherwise. Look at the mess on the face of Rickard. This to Lars Anderson. Lars Anderson now wavering. He's against the ropes. The bell is gone. The bell is gone to the end of the match. Referee Jack Kendall went to the canvas. These two are fighting on. Referee Jack Kendall now. This is amazing. Steve Rickard is going for the throat of Lars Anderson. I just can't believe what a time of Steve Rickard these days. He's really getting so worked up on the man.
I had the old man beaten down. You understand that? Beaten down. When the kid gets involved. You know, but I'll say one thing. Even 2 out of 3, like 2 out of 3 falls. Let's have and find out what happened. Let's do it American style. American professional wrestling. Let's do it that way and find out what happened, you know. But I think even though the kid got involved, yeah, Rickard, you're the veteran. Well, so am I. You're the champion, but I'm going to be the champion. You understand? I am the uncrowned champion. The odds were even. That's right, Rickard. The odds were even. You and your son against me. 2 Kiwis against 1 American. The odds were even.
Well, he's still a champion. He's still wearing the belt. Obviously, you want a rematch.
That's right. Any kind of rematch I want. I don't care what kind, but I want 2 out of 3 falls. At least 2 out of 3 falls. American style, so we can get it going right. Get it going in the right direction. You know, like they stop the rounds. They stop the rounds. What is that? American style. You don't let them up. You just keep going.
Now it's mixed tag action with the Mighty Midgets in highlights from a recent match between Coconut Willie of the USA, joined by Samoan Joe, and up against Mean Little Kevin of the USA and Merv Fortune of New Zealand. A little moisture in the hands. Rub the hands together. How are they going to fix this man? Merv Fortune thinks he's really in for the kill here. Not once, but twice. Falls Merv Fortune. He just goes back to his corner in disgust. And tag, Mean Little Kevin. Now watch these two go. All the normal wrestling action. They play off the ropes. Big dive to the ground. There's Mean Little Kevin. Comes in. Down hits Merv Fortune. These sneaky little things have been going on right throughout this match. Jack Kendall says back out of the ring, Merv Fortune. Mean Little Kevin looks around. The Coconut Willie. Both locked in. Mean Little Kevin, the headlock on the Coconut Willie, but he throws him out of that. Willie to the ground. Oh! Samoan Joe absolutely stopping Mean Little Kevin in his tracks. Get back in, Coconut Willie. There's Jack Kendall. Full of surprises, these two. The bell is gone for the end of that round. Samoa Joe tries to piggyback for Coconut Willie. Merv Fortune gets in and thinks, right, well, we'll do something, Mean Little Kevin. Up you get on my shoulders. And it looks like the old school sport of cockfighting. What's going to happen here? Merv Fortune goes to the ground. Mean Little Kevin dives off and he's out of the ring. Well, there you see, that's the way the crowd has looked right throughout this match. The smiles pushing everyone's face. And look at this. Coconut Willie with Samoan Joe. All that weight on his shoulders. They have some strength, these boys. Mean Little Kevin's going to show how he can lift. Merv Fortune doesn't quite make it. Merv Fortune nosedives into the canvas. Chance for Samoan Joe to get in. Hello, the four of them are going now. These two little midgets certainly know all the tricks of the wrestling. Here we are, nice throw. Merv Fortune moves in to help mean little Kevin. Now up down to the ring as you see mean little Kevin off the rope, and nice footwork there from Coconut Willie. You see when you look quite close at them, there's a lot of strength in those tiny bodies. Interesting to know what sort of weight they lift in the gym. Pile driver of sorts. They may have a lot of strength, but then again, that sort of weight would be quite easy to shift with. Never seem to tire, this tiny two. Look at the face of mean little Kevin. Coconut Willie is loving it. He's really playing to the crowd. Drags his chin across. That's a great little bit of chin to get a hold of. What? Jack Kendall's turn to get straight. But he's made the tag. Samoa Joe, and out of the ring goes mean little Kevin to make his tag. I'm not hanging around for that Samoan Joe, he said. That's Merv Fortune to take on Samoan Joe. I think these two are getting just as much enjoyment out of the little midget. Samoan Joe Fortune holding on to the hair. A lot of hair on Merv Fortune to hang on to. Samoan Joe making the most of it. Break off the rope. It's worthwhile too just to keep an eye on other parts of the screen when these two are in the middle, because the little midgets do all sorts of things. So here's Coconut Willie come around. That looks as though Merv Fortune's hair, not funny for Merv Fortune, his hair is caught up in the rope. Now we've had a bit of plaiting going on here, it looks like it. And he's out. Hair is out. Just keep an eye on these little midgets there, Samoan Joe and Merv Fortune. Carry on. They dart across the ring, dart back again. Sometimes without Jack Kendall even seeing. Well, the big talking point has been Steve Rickard's sleeper hold. He believes it's fair and legitimate, and I'd agree with him. Well, that's it from World Pro Wrestling for this time. You've heard our comments. What do you think of the controversial hold? Everyone at the back of the neck from Steve Rickard. More fists, this time to the front of the neck. Back comes Val Mongolian. And there's that fisticuffs between the both of them. One then the other. That's a heavy quick succession one. To the side of the neck of Zar. Oh, it looks like a rusty gate. And the sleeper already. The sleeper already. They've only just got warmed up. Well, it looks as though it could be all over already. There's Zar Mongolian. He's twisting. sleeper. I think the crowd are worked up to a bit of a lather here, too. The way Steve Rickard started this one off, and it looks as though he's successfully applied the sleeper again, and there it is. Well, well, well. How quickly all that came upon the world powerlifting champion, Zada Mongoli. Now, he's not breaking. Rickard is not breaking. He's still mad. Jack Campbell is beckoning him to break the sleeper hold. And that's it for Will.